Really seemed to come alive for you in that second stint towards the end there. Was there a point where you did feel comfortable in the race today? No.
There wasn't 1 second, no.
So how hard is it then? What are you dealing with in the car and how much work is
I don't
there
know.
to do?
Clearly the car is capable of being P3, so Charles did a great job today, so I can't blame him for that.
You don't have any idea why it's just not happening for you?
No.
All right, thank you.
Was it the best you could achieve today?
Yeah, I was miles off pace-wise and didn't have the speed today.
What do you want to keep from these 3 weeks?
There's not really anything to take from the 3 weeks, except for I'm slow, so I've got to figure out how to undo that.
Hi Lewis. I know yesterday you were saying to us you needed some magic, or I think there's a quote saying you said you needed a brain transplant to get on top of this car, but it really seemed to come alive for you in that second stint towards the end there. Was there a point where you did feel comfortable in the race today? No.
There wasn't 1 second, no.
So how hard is it then? What are you dealing with in the car and how much work is
I don't know.
there to do?
Clearly the car is capable of being P3, so Charles did a great job today, so I can't blame him for that.
You don't have any idea why it's just not happening for you?
No.
All right, thank you.
Lewis Hamilton wasn't happy with what he saw on Ferrari pitboard at Japanese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton continues to work on his relationship with new Ferrari race engineer Riccardo Adami. Hamilton spent 12 years with Peter Bonington at Mercedes, but now he has a brand new voice in his ear. Hamilton was annoyed with the media for their coverage of his radio communications on his Australia debut. He felt that the tense exchanges with Adami had been used to create a misleading picture of a rift. The 40-year-old went to win the sprint at the following race in China, but his weekend in Japan was more difficult. After qualifying a disappointing P8, he was only able to gain 1 position in the race. At one point, the F1 broadcast team played an impatient radio message from Hamilton, who said, "I'd really like some info about where I'm slow." Adami is still learning about how much support the 7-time world champion needs in the cockpit. Lewis Hamilton frustrated that Ferrari pit board didn't show the gap ahead. After clearing Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls early on, Hamilton set about chasing Kimi Antonelli. He was an outlier in the top 10 after choosing the hard tires for his first stint. That theoretically gave him an advantage later in the race, when he'd be on the faster mediums. But while he closed up on Antonelli shortly after the Mercedes driver pitted, he progressively fell back. In one unbroadcast radio message on lap 49 out of 53, Hamilton asked, "What's the gaps? Man, there's nothing on my pit board." Adami responded that the deficit was 8 seconds, and the 105-time race winner radioed in a lap later to admit he simply didn't have the pace. Still, in future, he wants Ferrari to display more information on the board, which he passes on every trip down the start-finish straight. Ferrari were surprised Lewis Hamilton couldn't do one thing at Japanese Grand Prix. With the DRS-assisted move on Hadjar complete, Hamilton was urged to catch on Antonelli. Clearly, Ferrari thought they had the pace to beat the rookie. However, he eventually finished more than 10 seconds adrift. It was alarming to see the Italian scamper away on slower rubber in the second half of the race. This may be confirmation that Mercedes have a faster car right now. Antonelli and George Russell both finished within 3 seconds of Charles Leclerc, and it's also worth noting that limited tyre management was required at Suzuka. Ferrari's car has a narrow working window, the same issue that plagued Hamilton at Brackley last year. If he was moving for 2025 alone, his decision would be looking questionable, but time is still on his side.
There's a challenge
challenging day for you yesterday, feeling a bit of understeer, and one of the laps, obviously, where you were impeded. What are you thinking today? There are lots of unknowns in terms of race pace, in terms of a green, wet to dry track. Where's your head at?
Well, it's freezing for one.
You're cold?
Yeah, I'm just cold. I mean, I'm looking at the track and it's obviously drying out. So I woke up this morning hoping for a wet race, and obviously it's going to be a dry one, but it's still windy and cold, so it should be different on the tyres compared to what we experienced in practice. It's not easy to overtake here, so trying to figure out how to do something different to everyone else that's around me. I'm not in a great position in P8, so from there it's difficult to progress. But when there's a will, there's a way.
Well, we know you love it here. We know you know how to win here. And just a word for these fans as well, Lewis, because they have been incredible. Some of the most creative we see all year.
The Japanese fans are so unique, and there's the support. I mean, it's such a beautiful country, and the culture here is really fantastic. And they're excited, just always excited when we're around. It doesn't matter who they support; they're just supporting everyone almost. But obviously, you see people wearing different drivers' kits, but. Every year, without fail, they're here and they're surrounding the whole circuit, and I'm glad that we have this race. I'm really grateful for this track, and to be able to be here. It's there's only 20 of us that get to do it, so I'm really fortunate.
Yeah, it's a special track, special place. Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you so much.
Ferrari のルイス・ハミルトン選手。はじめましてです。はい、じゃあまず一言いただけますか。
Hi everyone. Same as him. I love it here in Japan, and this is my favorite trip of the whole year. So thank you so much for having us.
はい、もうルクレン選手がすでにでも全部言ってくれたんですけども、もう日本のファンの皆さんにお会いできて最高です。日本に来るっていう。
The trip to Japan is already... Firstly, I get a lot of jet lag when I come here. It's always harder here for some reason, I don't know why. But I think Charles had 3 hours of sleep yesterday, so he struggled. But he had 12 last night, so... but
12 hours and 10 minutes. I think it's my record of ever.
That's a lot of sleep. But I love coming out.
Charles, second row, 3/10 off pole. Was that the limit of what you could have achieved today, do you think?
Oh, for sure. I think the lap was actually really, really good. I think I put everything in that lap. There wasn't much I could have done better. Yesterday I was quite happy because I think we worked really well and we unlocked some performance in the car. Today in quali it started to go away from us a little bit, especially in Q3. I had either a lot of understeer or a lot of oversteer, and we didn't. But all in all, honestly, the lap I've done, I was really, really happy with it. So we need to keep working. There's still a big gap compared to McLaren and Red Bull, and this is our target, to try and be back at winning races. But I will say that as a whole, and it's difficult to say that when you are P4, but it's been positive because I really felt like I feel a lot more comfortable with the car today.
Well, obviously not good enough from my side. P8 is not great, but I was happy to get into Q3 obviously, and really tight battle out there with everyone. I just didn't get great laps in Q3.
I mean, Ferrari are clearly wrestling with some issues early in the season. You're confident they can solve them. Are you having to run the car a little bit higher than you'd like to right now? Can you give us a perspective on any of that?
Yes, we are running higher than we would like, but I don't know how if everyone's in the same boat in that respect. But particularly, obviously, after the last race, we're a bit higher than we want to be. It's usually the knock-on effect from a weekend like we had before. But Charles did an amazing lap today. For me, we went in different directions with the setup, and for me, I had a lot of understeer and just couldn't dial it out throughout qualifying.
Just finally, I mean, it might rain in advance of the Grand Prix. What level of optimism you could make some places and move forwards?
Oh, I'm excited. I generally love the rain. It's going to be tricky, but usually when you have a qualifying like I just had, you hope for the rain. So I hope that it stays.